Do we even want to be a part of the Black Friday crazy? We were like, okay, yeah, we do. That feels right to us. But then the other thing we landed on was let's just do something kind of crazy. Let's just offer it for $1. Let's just see what happens, who we attract into our community for $1. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Becky here today. I am really excited to spend a little bit of time with you, pulling back the curtain and sharing some behind the scenes and a little bit of the why behind our current pre-Black Friday promo of getting started inside the Modern Direct Seller Academy for just $1. Now, I think this is going to make for a really juicy, fun episode because I've gotten a lot of messages, not just from direct sellers or people in our community, but also peers in the industry that have been like, okay, hold on, tell me, what are you doing and why are you doing this? So I thought that I would just kind of spill the tea here on the podcast and share a little bit of the thought process, a little bit about why we are doing something we've never done before by inviting people into the Academy for just $1. So if you're new around here, we are so happy you're checking us out. Maybe you're even thinking about spending $1 and joining us inside the Academy and taking a peek around to see all the resources and see if it's the right community for you. So we're so happy you're here. Every week, there's a brand new podcast episode where we are dropping all kinds of great training. So excited to kind of mix things up a little bit here today and just talk a little bit about why we're doing what we're doing this time of the year. So first off, just like many of you, we are in the thick of Black Friday. So if you're listening to this in real time, we dropped this promotion on Monday, November 17th. But we actually snuck it in and gave a little bit of an early bird access to people on Sunday. But we only did that if they had opted into our text messages. So I'll talk a little bit about that strategy and how we've launched this campaign, because that's really what it is. We've been talking about it now for weeks and weeks and weeks, building up to it. And then it runs through this coming Sunday, November 23rd. So just like you, we're getting Black Friday, pre-Black Friday offers left and right. Whether you are shopping or you are selling, you're probably feeling it in a big way, which is kind of exciting. That's the fun part of the energy this time of year is there's some really good deals out there, right? So it's fun to kind of get a jump start on it. And it's also really fun to offer something that is totally outside the box, something that we're just going to have to see. We don't know how it's going to go. We really have no idea, but we're kind of putting it all out there and we're playing a little bit risky, maybe doing some things that we don't usually do. But at the heart of this offer, so when we first started brainstorming, one, what do we want to do for Black Friday? Because we've done many things over the years. We've done 5 days of deals. We've done a special on a bundle. We've done a discount on upgrading your membership. We've done lots of different things in past Black Fridays. But this year, when we were starting to brainstorm, if we wanted to play Black Friday, that was one question. Do we even want to be a part of the Black Friday crazy? We were like, okay, yeah, we do. That feels right to us. But then the other thing we landed on was let's just do something kind of crazy. Let's just offer it for $1. Let's just see what happens, who we attract into our community for $1. I think the primary rationale behind it, then I'll get into some other reasons of why we kind of structured it this way. But the primary reason was really to meet people where they're at right here, right now in November 2025. So many families have been affected by the government shutdown. Many families have been affected by the economy. Many companies have changed their comp plan this year. Many families have been affected by companies that have closed this year, where they were kind of forced to restart. And so knowing that it's been a little bit of a rocky road here in 2025, this wasn't the year that we were going to offer like a $5,000 big ticket offer. That did not feel like the right match for what our audience needed right now. What we wanted to do is provide access. and make what we've built accessible to the masses. We know that direct sales is a great income stream. It was a huge income stream for our family when I started out in direct sales. We see the impact it makes inside of our community each and every day. Those sales, they add up, right? That team that you're building, that residual income, those bonuses, those trips you get to go on, all of that contributes to the lifestyle that you're building. So number one, we really believe in this industry. We also believe that if you have the right tools, the right resources, the right training, and the right people around you, you can do pretty incredible things. I believe we have all of that inside the academy. So then it was, okay, how do we make this as accessible as possible? And here's the reality. We weren't going to offer anything totally free because that creates a whole housekeeping mess from a customer service side. So free was out the window, but we were like, okay, do we do 15? Do we do half off? Do we do a deal if people purchase an annual membership? Or what does that look like? And I said, we've never done this before, but what if we just try $1? Let's just try $1. And I think the whole team might have gasped. Everyone was kind of like, ooh, $1, Becky? Is that really what you meant? Especially Jeremy, who, does all of our numbers and finance. He's our CFO. He was like, $1? I don't know about that. But after really talking through it, we were like, okay, this is a great opportunity for people to get a little bit of a taste of what we're all about. It's a gift back to this industry where so many have experienced the ups and downs of 2025 and are probably a little eager to get their hands on the right resources to really build an income for their family or rebuild an income for their family. So I think with all that's been shaking between economy and industry, we really wanted to make sure that direct sellers, social sellers, network marketers had exactly what they needed to be successful as they're rolling through the busiest time of the year. So that was really kind of the why behind $1 and how we landed there. But there's a couple other factors at play that were important to us. So one of which is the timing of it. So we haven't done a lot of academy promotions this year. Of course, we've sent emails, we've linked to the academy, and we talk about the academy on social. But in years past, we've actually done a very big push for academy memberships and signups in the spring and the fall. Each of those were 5-day challenges that we ran out of a Facebook group. You guys might remember those. We had an upgrade for a $7 all access pass, and it was a very, very high effort way of launching the academy. And this year, since we've had some shifts in our own business, we've put a bit more of a launch focus and bringing in new customers over on our Oh My High business. So it's been a minute since we've done anything majorly promotional in the academy. If we had done the fall launch last month or the month before and then came out with $1, it would have felt really off-putting to those that would have just gotten started. So the timing felt really right, knowing that we've been a little bit light on the promotions that we've put out there this year. We also have been so fortunate that back in January, if you remember, we launched a program called Party Like It's 2025. Now, keep in mind, when you get started in the academy for $1, you get your hands on this program too. But back in January when we launched that, it was only for members inside our academy. It wasn't supposed to be a public launch. It was really just meant to provide value to our community, our paying members of our academy. And it got to be such a huge part of what we were doing that people were sending out referral links and people were jumping into the academy. I think we added over 200, maybe 300 people into the academy back in January just because they wanted their hands on that Party Like It's 2025 program. So that also kind of took the pressure off of launching and doing a bunch of promotional stuff throughout the year because we had a lot of new members join us back in January. But here we are in November. I'm like, all right, let's bring in the fresh energy. Let's bring in the new. We're excited to freshen things up and, offer some new things, new content. And for $1, oh yeah, we're here for it. So the timing of it was great. The fact that we haven't done a ton of promotional stuff for the academy this year also fell right into place. But let's be real. Part of it is also that there's a lot of energy over Black Friday. I always say that hearts are open and wallets are open over Black Friday, and we've done some podcast episodes about that over the last couple of weeks. But really, Black Friday is the season for deals. People are looking for deals, a 5% off, a 10% off, $10 off. That's not really grabbing people's attention, but $1, we're hoping that's really grabbing people's attention. So that was another reason was, okay, let's lean into the Black Friday energy and the excitement of it and really build this up truly as a campaign where we're hyping it up, we're dropping teasers, we're creating content, we're letting people know it's coming. In fact, we've even done an entire behind the scenes scoop series for our Academy members and some select people that joined a couple of workshops that we did to share with them what we've been doing behind the scenes to better inform their Black Friday campaigns. That was another reason, like the fun, high energy Black Friday scene is where we wanted to be. But let me just share some transparency in terms of what we're seeing really working with the promotions that we've dropped this week. So this is kind of the fun marketing side of things, but we did do a text opt-in. So some of you may have texted the keyword scoop. And when you texted the keyword scoop, we were sharing with you what we were doing each and every week leading up to this campaign. So this week we updated our sales page. This week we created our social graphics. This week we scheduled out our content. So we've kind of been taking people with us on this journey, which has been really fun. For me personally, I've been kind of wanting to play around with this a little bit more, sharing a behind the curtain, behind the scenes peek of what we have going on. So we've been sharing live videos inside the Academy. And then for those that opted into that text message, they've also been getting kind of a weekly or bi-weekly text about what we've been doing leading up to this campaign. So the buzz was building, and we probably started talking about this at the beginning of November. So it definitely had a solid, I'd say 2-3 weeks where we've been talking about it, but not revealing all the details of it. So that gave us a nice launch runway where we were also able to engage our affiliates. So we have everyone inside the Academy has an affiliate link, and when they refer people, they get 30% commission. So we also let our affiliates know and gave them the tools, the resources, the copy about what we had coming. So they were also prepared and they could sneak it into their Black Friday promotions as another way to grow their revenue as well. So that was really fun. We did content batching day, and this was just last week, and kind of a fun, different approach to content. Inside the Academy, we do our content labs where we come together and I share what's inside the social selling action plan, which includes some reels and then some bonus content. And then the second half of our content lab, we actually go create that content. So I essentially took that idea and blew it up, but also brought in a couple 12-year-olds to help. So some of you know my daughter Mackenzie is 12, and one of her good friends, she came over and we created content for about 2 hours. So I already had the reels and the videos ready that I knew I wanted to record, but I let them be the directors. And so they filmed with the camera, because a lot of times when I'm creating content, I'm literally holding my phone up, but I'm doing it selfie style, which it's fine, and there's a time and place for that. But this was great that we could do some stuff that was more like me walking or full length, and we did outfit changes, and we really played off of the different ideas that we had already mapped out. So we took a couple hours and we filmed 10 reels that you've probably been seeing on social. There's a few more dropping over the next couple of days, but they were all holiday themed, promotional, kind of fun. I'm trying to make it all holiday-ish. And I gotta say, when we recorded, it was about 80 degrees outside. So I'm wearing like a tank top and a skirt, but it was a little bit warm. It did not feel holiday-ish yet. But we had a lot of fun with that. And that was a great way for us to batch out the content and take the pressure off of having to do that in real time. So of course, scheduling those out with SynShare has been huge for us. Sharing them across platforms has been great as well. And then we also had some fun with Project Broadcast with those keywords. So we had the scoop keyword that people were texting to hear the behind the scenes, but then we also dropped another keyword called spoiler. So we updated a lot of our content and our call to actions on our social posts to text the word spoiler to our Project Broadcast number, and they would be the first to know. So before we even dropped this $1 deal to the public on Monday, those people that wanted the spoiler alert heard about it on Sunday. So that was a great way for us to kind of get a feel okay, how's this going? What is this going to look like as we are working through the week? And of course, I'll come back here on the podcast and share our final results. But all week long, every single person joining the Academy, I'm using my favorite transparent Post-it notes and writing their name on it, slapping it up on the wall. So I'm going to have a huge collection of new names that are joining us inside the Academy. And we've also spent a really significant amount of time prepping for what it looks like once you get into the Academy. So of course, we have our normal onboarding systems, and we send texts and we send emails and we have a welcome guide, and we do all of those things inside the Academy. But we've really customized it for this promotion, because the thought process there is, if you're buying something for $1, I mean, you're buying it and you're paying attention, but you might not be reading all the nitty-gritty details, like you're purchasing a $5,000 program. So we knew many people would be glossing over what's actually included, and we would really need to share what's included as we roll through their first month of their membership to decide, okay, is this the right fit? So we have a really fun daily gift that we're dropping that unwraps a tool or a resource that they can easily use right then in their business. So we're excited about this campaign because it's not only going to re-engage our existing members, but also it's going to provide a ton of value and kind of introduce all the different things included in the Academy. Because that's the one thing that I'll say about the Academy is that we've definitely packed it full. There is a lot. There's courses, there's toolkits, there's live events, there's community, there's our social selling action plan, there's replays, there's a lot included, and we don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed with the amount of stuff they have access to. So I always say, if someone can just pick or choose one or two things that's going to save them time or make them more money, then they are set, and that justifies spending money for their membership, right? So we're really highlighting the value that's packed in these daily gifts. And that's leading us right to our 2026 planning session, which, mark your calendar, it is on December 17th. It is the most popular direct sales event of the year. I'm not joking. Thousands of people register for this workshop. I have no doubt it is going to be well attended and so much fun again this year. So mark your calendar for that. And you can even save your seat already over at moderndirectseller.com/2026plan. So as we have new members joining the Academy, we're going to bring them right along that journey and invite them to the 2026 planning session, where we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about what's hot, what's working right now, and what they need to be thinking about and planning for as we roll into 2026. So when I talk about this being a campaign, it truly is. From the beginning of November, as we drop teasers, to this week as we're promoting, to the onboarding experience over the next 30 days, to the 2026 planning workshop that's happening in December. So obviously our goal is to support as many direct sellers as we can in giving them exactly what they need to be successful. So we've put a lot of thought and effort into the way that we're introducing the Academy to these new members, which has been a ton of fun. In fact, I wasn't even going to mention this today, but I'll just throw it out there. We have a brand new course inside the Academy that we've recorded, and we've introduced a new model to direct sales. And I think this is a fun one. I spent a lot of time really kind of racking my brain on what this looks like and what the best visual was for this and how people will grasp onto it. But we're calling it the SEA model. That's SEA, and it stands for Scrappy, Expanding, and Automating. So while it's not necessarily a linear 3 stages of business, you could be doing some scrappy stuff. I'll be admit it. I'm doing some scrappy stuff this week, even when you're at a season of your business that you have a lot of things automated. So we're talking about each of those kind of modes of operation in your business. When you're scrappy, when you're expanding and finding new customers, and then when you're automating and leaning into those systems. And there's various amounts of effort at each stage. And even when you've been in business for a really, really long time, there still may be seasons that you're pushing to earn that trip, or you're pushing to reach that sales goal, or you're pushing to bring on new customers or kind of rally up some new collaborations or partners, where you are feeling like you're doing a little bit more of the scrappy in your business. But the reality is sometimes we just have to be scrappy. We got to make it work, right? No matter how far along we're in a business, we still have moments where we're like, okay, let's be a little scrappy here and figure out how we can reach our goals. So I'm excited to introduce that model and that course inside the Academy for all of our new members, because I really do think it's a way that people are going to understand, okay, I am in the scrappy season. I don't want to be here forever. I want to be doing more automation. I want to be expanding my customer base more, so people can kind of identify with where they're at and then align the tools and resources with that stage or season of business for them. So that was a little bit of a side note tangent there, but I am really, really excited about that new course. That was something that was important to me to get done and have available to our new Academy members to kind of set the stage and create that framework from the very beginning when they're diving into the Academy, knowing that there's so many tools and resources, and you can grab and go whatever you need, pick and choose. I always say it's kind of like a buffet line. Maybe you're not going to pick every dessert that's available to you. You're just going to grab the piece of pie. You're going to grab your favorite sorbet, but it's all there for you. And if you want to come back tomorrow and grab the piece of cheesecake, you can do that too. So we're really thinking about how do you pick and choose what you need based on where you're at as a business owner. So that's going to be a ton of fun too. So back to the last piece of why now, why $1? I mean, the heart of it is that we want to wow people. We want people to have the opportunity to step into something and realize at a very low risk, low cost, that these are my people. This is my community. This is the content that resonates with me that's going to help me save time and going to help me save more money. So it's not necessarily about joining another membership or taking another course. It's about finding the people, the communities that resonates with you, that is going to support you and help you get to that next milestone faster. So that's really at the heart of why we created the Academy from the beginning. And that hasn't changed over the years. I feel like a lot has changed around us. Like I said, right? The industry's changed. Maybe you've changed companies. Maybe things have shifted for you in your personal life. But when it comes down to it, our goal is to support social sellers, direct sellers, network marketers, and help you make more money so you can really build that lifestyle that you love. And a $5,000 program invite is not going to be what you need right now. So grab it for $1. Grab it for $1. Come hang out with us. See if this is the right fit. Consider it our gift from us to you. So with that said, that's a little behind the scenes about what we have going on and how we can support people in really creating that momentum before 2026, not waiting until January to do something, but to jump in, take that messy action, learn, grab and go what you need when you need it, and ultimately offer something really, really, really valuable to an industry that we just believe so deeply in. So it's been super fun putting this together. Maybe a borderline crazy. I'll have a report out. There might be a part 2 of this podcast where we debrief the results and talk about what we learned, what we would have done differently. But if you needed a friendly nudge today, or if you've been thinking about the Academy or thinking about jumping back into the Academy, we have a lot of members that have come back to us because for one reason or another, they needed to step away and now they're back in. I mean, for $1, why not, right? We would love to invite you inside our community and continue to share with you behind the scenes scoop on what's working, how things are going, and then of course support you as you're running your own promotions and you're putting yourself out there and you're selling your products and making that big impact as you finish the year strong. So with that said, thanks for being here on the podcast today. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. I feel like, I get the analytics on these podcasts and I know people are listening, but I don't always hear from everyone, so it is nice to know that there are people out there listening, and this podcast is something maybe you're listening to while you're folding laundry, prepping for Thanksgiving, driving carpool, whatever it might be for you. I just so appreciate you being here and being part of our world and letting me into your AirPods. So with that said, have a great day today. I look forward to seeing you back here next week for another episode. Let's get out there and make it a great day. Bye, everyone. This episode is sponsored by CintShare. CintShare is the #1 social media scheduler for direct sellers and loved by creators in any industry. It's truly your one-stop shop for all things social. Join hundreds of thousands of social sellers and entrepreneurs who turn to CintShare for free social media training and resources. Get started today with your free 30-day trial at moderndirectseller.com/CintShare.